on blast.
We are live. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show. As always, my name is Sheldon Alexander. I'm joined with my guy, Bellamo. Bellamo, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? I'm good.
You good?
Good game.
Good
Big
game.
win.
Solid win for the Raptors. As always, this episode of the Wrap It Up podcast is brought to you by Clean Cuts Barbershop, 2013 Danforth Avenue in the East End of Toronto. Clean Cuts, the multicultural barbers that will always keep you fresh for any and all occasions. So go see Skip and the crew, and as a wise man once said, tell them that I sent you. Check them out on Instagram at Clean Cuts Toronto or give them a call, 416-917-4833 to book your appointment now. Raptors win, Raptors win, Raptors win. Mikey, what's going on? How you feeling, man? How you feeling about this Raptors victory, 120-103 over the Sacramento Kings?
It was good. We saw a lot of positives.
We did.
CJ definitely seems to have his game back.
Right? It's good to see.
I mean, Norm again, consecutive. He seems again to have his game back. Everything just kind of like you were saying earlier, kind of was an even-keeled game on the Raptors side of things.
Do you know how you mentioned Norm, right? It kind of reminds me of the start of the year when Serge started playing so well, and it was like, okay, it's another game in a row. It's another game in a row. Can he keep this up? And then he did, right? Like, that's kind of interesting to me, and I think that's really cool because Norm, we brought it up on a prior podcast, right? But the playoffs, Norm is not scared. We know that. We've seen that before.
He's proven it, yeah.
So it's good to see him cooking and see him get things going there for sure.
Yeah.
But as mentioned, Raptors win 120-103. Thanks for joining us, as you always do, live on Twitter at Shell Alexander and on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. In both places, we take your questions and comments and concerns with everything Toronto Raptors, following each and every Raptor game. And in case you're not able to catch up with us live, obviously becomes a podcast, which you can find on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud by searching On Blast Podcast. Same goes for the people on YouTube. Huge shout out to the YouTube people,
community.
Keeping the conversation going as we kind of ruffled some feathers with some trade talk, which we'll dive into a little bit more as well.
The Beal talk.
Right? Oh, lots
we'll
more
talk
talk
about
to come,
that,
for sure. So let's start with this game, though. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard out again for the third game in a row. We were told pregame that he's going to miss tomorrow night's game as well, making it 4 games in a row Kawhi Leonard has been gone. But on the flip side, we'll get to Kawhi later. As mentioned, I guess, in the behind the scenes, send us your questions or your concerns if you're worried about Kawhi Leonard, because we want to talk about that. Are you worried about the health of Kawhi Leonard?
Missing tomorrow's game is a little concerning.
It's a little weird.
It's a big game.
It's a little weird.
It's a big game.
So Raptors improve, though, after this win to 11-2 without Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Not bad, right? 3-0 on this during this week, right?
Yep.
But we're hearing he'll be back against James Harden, which will be a cool matchup on Friday.
Definitely.
But before we get there, Sacramento Kings were an interesting threat to the Raptors, I feel like, because if you go back to the first game the Raps played, they played them tough.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And they played them tough again tonight, even without, like, no De'Aaron Fox, no Shumpert, and we're laughing because
Thank you, Mona.
Yes, if you follow me on Twitter, okay, I tweeted out the photo of Iman Shumpert's Instagram story from yesterday, which was a promo for a party in Toronto that he was having last night at Regulars.
If anyone was there, let us know how it was.
And you mentioned Moda. I really think that, people keep talking about we should honor Vince and put Vince up.
Yeah.
Right?
We should,
I'm like, Moda should get her jersey up in the
definitely,
ACC for all the work she does for the Toronto.
People don't know who she is. She's a party promoter, very successful.
Yeah.
And she's in the Carter Effect.
Yes.
She's actually a good friend of one of our good friends, Shanta Danny.
Yeah.
So she owns a bar, Regulars, on King Street. And one of her things are she throws parties for the
Any
out-of-town.
and everybody in Toronto,
But the out-of-town NBA players.
Yeah.
She's seen with a lot of them. She knows them all.
She was throwing a party for Tim Hardaway Jr. in London when the Knicks were
when
just
they were
in
there
London.
just a week ago. Yeah.
Anyways,
Amon Shumpert decided he wanted to throw a bash, I guess. And
Monday night party. And hey, what do you know? The Toronto flu strikes again. No Shumpert tonight.
Fox had a toe injury. I guess he banged his toe against the bar while ordering shots. Who knows?
Hey, Hey, we present the facts. You draw
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
conclusions, right?
Thank you, Mona, though.
Hey,
She gets the assist.
Huge shouts to Mona for
Yeah.
sure. But regardless, I was surprised that the Kings still came out and they looked great. Like if
Yeah.
you remove the starting point guard from any team in the league, much less a young team like that, you'd expect them to struggle.
Yeah.
The Kings on the flip side, they looked great. The ball movement was good. Everything
the
was still
score
cooking.
looks deceiving, obviously, because it's a 15 point. It looks like a blow.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It was close pretty much majority of the game
Yeah.
for a young, up-and-coming team.
Yeah, I
Right?
think I said 103 earlier,
It was
but it's
120,
105, yes. But you're right. It was a close game for the majority of it, at least for three quarters.
Yep.
And the thing was, the Kings were just up and down. This is a good team. They might
Yeah.
not be there now. A couple
Next
years, they'll be legit.
And the narrative around the Kawhi-less Raptors could have been, but it was Fox wasn't playing. It could have been the showdown of the two favorites for the most improved.
True.
Siakam
De'Aaron Fox.
and Fox.
True. Very
But-
true.
He backed out.
Yeah, I mean, toe injuries. You got to be
Toe.
careful with that, right? So, again, great start for. Let's go through a little bit of the
Yep.
game here. Not too much, but good win for the Raptors. I think they looked good. There were some great things, great positives that you want to see. CJ Miles continued his
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hot shooting.
4
Are
or
you
5,
happy
I
to
think.
see CJ Miles continue?
I mean,
to
find
find his shooting stroke.
Man, I'm not one of those people that for the jinxes or that, but ever since Danny Green rocked the CJ's PJs, he's been hitting it up.
true.
And then Danny Green went on fire. I wasn't here for that podcast, but
Yeah.
he was lighting
Yeah,
it up with
that
8
game was
threes.
crazy. Yeah,
So
that
I
game
mean,
was crazy.
something's going right. And yeah, I mean it's great to see him get his game because that comes in handy when the playoffs come and to have a guy roll off your bench, even if it's going to be 12 minutes,
Yeah.
to be effective from beyond the arc, which
Hey,
is
and-
one thing we need.
Hey, this era of
Couldn't
the
hurt.
NBA, you can't
Yeah.
have too much 3-point shooting.
Yeah, and
right?
we always knew he had it, right?
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, he was slumping bad. So
Yeah, 4 or 5 from 3 tonight for CJ Miles. He had 15 points off the bench. And you know what? You got to give shouts to the entire Raptors team because they had, 6 guys in double figures?
Yep.
CJ with 15, Norm Powell with 11 off the bench. Then in terms of your starters, great game by Fred VanVleet. I thought he
Great
really
game,
set the
yeah.
tone early.
yeah.
He banged in a couple threes early and just set the tone,
He's
got him
proving,
going.
like I even said to you, he's proven to me a lot more that if given the starting job, he could definitely hang in.
Yeah. He's got to, the only hurdle is can he stay healthy?
Yes.
Right? And it's not even like he has serious injuries.
No,
It's like
nagging ones.
nagging injuries, right?
But the Raptors did have 15 plus turnovers today, so
Yeah.
something to work on. But I mean,
It's interesting though, right? Because the style of play, and especially with him and Kyle,
Yeah.
and when Kyle's in the lineup, this was probably Kyle's best game since he's come back from injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
19 points, 9 assists for Kyle. But to me, again, it's the pace that Kyle Lowry brings to the team
Yeah.
when he's in the lineup. He's constantly trying to push the ball up, whether it's to Fred, whether it's to Siakam.
he finds you in perfect spots.
Yeah,
At the end of the
he's
game,
trying
if
to
you guys
push the
saw the
pace.
Boucher alley-oop, Kyle found him.
Yes.
So.
Right? And it's just a great sight to see. And
Yeah.
to have Kyle go hit 4 threes in the game, right? You want to see that. That's a
Yeah.
good look for Kyle Lowry. And especially, I think Jack mentioned he was only shooting somewhere in the 30s, 34%, I want to say, from 3. And the problem with that was the majority of his shots were all coming from 3-point land. So
Yeah.
that's not a good look for your shooting percentages.
Yeah.
But to see Kyle Lowry and CJ Miles, 2 guys who've been struggling with their shot, both just wet threes,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Together, 8 for 14, I think.
Incredible. It's just such a good look for the Raps. And I think that, Siakam, the glow up continues.
Yeah.
15 and 10 for
His
Pascal.
stock just keeps rising.
I have a question for you though.
Shoot.
Because I'm noticing, and they brought it up during the broadcast. Same thing. I'm gonna ask the people watching on both Twitter and Instagram as well. There's a lot of talk about Pascal Siakam and should he be an all-star? Is he creeping? Not that he's in for sure, but he's creeping into the conversation at least, right?
Yeah.
To where you have some people saying, they're obviously talking about it on the broadcast, which they're a little biased, of course.
Yeah.
But they're saying he should be an all-star. My question to you is, why are we boosting so much Pascal Siakam and not Serge Ibaka, whose numbers are actually better? Right? Serge Ibaka has the same or a little, he's averaging 1 more point than.
I don't know it off hand right now, the minutes played, average minutes played, maybe. It seems like, I know JV's been hurt a lot
Yeah.
recently, sorry to say, but it seems more that just Siakam's been throughout the year getting more minutes and
More
being more of a
consistent.
staple. Where at the beginning we had that great duo of Serge and JV, and I think that kind of took away from his games.
I got you. I know what you're
been
saying.
great.
I know what you're saying. Because he wasn't
And
starting for the
then,
whole year. It's kind of
the All-Star game again, fan voted, all that. It's a sexy name type of thing, and Spicy P.
the fans are liking. Fans are liking the
right?
show of
It's
Spicy
just,
P.
yeah,
right
it's
now.
more, I guess, with that too, kind of the sexiness of the up and coming player rather than the guy who's kind of getting his form back from an off year.
I kind of think that we're so much more surprised by Siakam, and he's like the shiny new toy.
Yeah,
right. And so
exactly.
like that's making everyone so
Yeah,
excited. And
yeah.
meanwhile, Serge is like, "Hey guys,
what about
I'm
me?"
also having
Yeah.
like my best year since
Exactly.
like I played in OKC." right.
exactly.
So it's kind of interesting in that sense. I don't think either of them will make the All Star game. I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be Kyle.
Maybe a reserve if someone gets hurt.
It's going to
but
be
yeah,
Kyle,
it's gonna be Kyle.
and Kawhi will be the two Raptors representatives.
Yep.
But also the other part of this is 3 Raptors. You can't have just one dude off the Bucks, right? Like I don't see
Middleton,
that happening.
I guess, or
it's Middleton
Brooke
or Bledsoe,
Lopez.
I guess. Like I don't know.
Lopez
but
is having a great year too.
also true, right? But it's just going to be an interesting
Yeah,
thing.
it's
But
probably gonna be Middleton.
I brought that up more so not to diss Siakam, but more to big up Serge. Like Serge has had a really good year for the
No,
Raptors.
yes, but like,
right?
what I think, like I said, I think it's more the attractiveness of the name and
Yeah.
the up and coming,
Yeah.
as opposed to the resurgence.
For sure.
Right?
Siakam, solid game tonight. 18 points on 8 of 14 shooting. Added in 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
Serge was the one with 15 and 10. I think I messed that up earlier. But Serge also having a solid game. Great stat lines all around for the Raptors. It's just a good win for them. And you close out that 3-game homestand with 3 wins.
Mm-hmm.
But now, as you head out on the road, you have Indiana tomorrow night. You have Houston on Friday and Dallas on Sunday, right? Let's talk a little bit about Kawhi.
Yeah.
So no Kawhi Leonard,
Mm-hmm.
but he's coming back on Friday to guard James Harden, which will be fun to watch for
Of
sure.
course. Yeah.
But I want to ask a question because it'll be the 4th game in a row that Kawhi Leonard has not played with what the team is calling load management.
Yep.
Now, Nick Nurse, before the game, he came out and he actually spoke and, because obviously the follow-up question was, is Kawhi okay
And
or
why isn't he
is
playing
something wrong?
tomorrow?
Yeah, like is he hurt? Right? And Nick Nurse, I'm trying to find the exact quote here so that I don't get it wrong, but Nurse
Paraphrase.
says he'll definitely be back Friday. He says Leonard is not hurt. It's load management and it's a decision made by Toronto's medical staff. So my question to everybody is, with all that said, are you worried about Kawhi Leonard's health as we sit on January 22nd and he's missed the last 4 games with load management?
So for me, no,
Okay.
not at all. I'm going to tell you why. The reason I think he's going to miss tomorrow's game is because, like you said, the past games they've won.
Mm-hmm.
If they go into this game on a 3-game losing streak, he probably plays this game or definitely tomorrow. Now, I told you before, I have a theory. This is what I think. So Kawhi is going to the All-Star game and he's going to participate in the festivities.
Yeah.
While majority of the NBA are going to be in Mexico, Cancun, or Mona's parties.
Cabo. Shout out to Cabo.
So I think what Masai did is smart, is said, you know what? Here's going to be your All-Star break. Take a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. The next couple games are light, teams that we should beat. You know what I mean? And I asked you, he was on the bench. I don't know for the last 3 games or the last, we'll say 7 days, how much it was. But I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe he took a day trip to San Diego or something like that. But I mean, basically, I'm not worried.
You're
if
not
he's
worried about
playing definitely Friday,
Yeah.
then there's nothing to be worried about. I just think this is his all-star break. Again, they're catering to him, right? They're letting him know that, your body is what's most important in the playoffs. So we're going to give you the 4 or 5 day rest, like all of the rest of the Raptors are going to have in 2 weeks or whenever the All-Star game is,
Yeah.
right?
Let me get to some comments
Yeah.
here because comments started flooding in as soon as we brought up Kawhi. First off, I want to say shout out to James. What's up, James? I see you. Let's see. First comment here: load management equals showcasing young guys for trade talks.
That's a really good point.
That's
too.
a very cool. That's kind of
Yeah.
interesting, right? Like because the flip side of that, and it's not even just young guys, but CJ Miles has magically just come up shooting
That's a good point. I
trays
didn't
like
think about
never
that as well.
before.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
point. Great point there. For sure. Next comment here on Instagram. I'm down with this load management. We need him healthy to play against the tough teams and for a deep playoff run. For sure. That's the big picture we've been talking about the whole year.
I said,
That's
I really
what's more
think this
important.
is his All-Star break because he's
Yeah.
going to the All-Star game. This is his 4 or 5 day. You know what I mean? And they came into this game on a winning streak. It's
Yeah.
okay, like for tomorrow. Get him ready for Friday and go full steam ahead.
And like my thing too is I've never actually been worried
Yeah.
about Kawhi. Like I don't think they're lying to us. It just threw me off a little bit because I could understand him. Okay, so he missed the Phoenix game.
Yep.
That was second night of a back-to-back. Cool.
Yep.
Then the next game was against the Grizzlies, and I was like, "There's no need to play. Like,
blew
who
them out.
cares? Yeah,
Yep.
it's the Grizzlies. They're like the worst team in the
Now
league.
it's Sacramento. Yeah.
And then now they're playing Sacramento, who's a little bit better. But I thought, okay, well, he's definitely gonna play against Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And so once that didn't happen, I was like, okay, that's
yeah, it is a
kinda
little weird, but
then I was like, okay, like whatever. I will trust Nick Nurse in the staff.
you know what? Like that now that gives him an extra 2 days.
For
so
sure.
you know, I don't know.
For
Do
sure.
the calculation. Maybe it's an even 10 days. Like who knows, right? So
My guy Ken asks, I think Kawhi is dictating when he plays and when he sits. It's an interesting point actually because we went over it today on our show on what is Tim and Sid.
Tim and
I was
Sid,
like, what are
yep.
their names? Wow.
Yep, Sid and Tim. Tim
Like
and
I
Sid,
don't
yeah.
know though. That's messed up. But we were talking about this today, and I went back because I wanted to make sure because I watched the Nick Nurse episode when he was on Danny Green's podcast,
Yep.
Inside the Green Room, and on that Nick Nurse specifically said he was like, honestly, he has nothing to do with the decision.
Nick
right?
Nurse
Like
doesn't.
Nick Nurse
Yeah.
doesn't. They come to him and they're like, "Hey, we decided blank," and the we is Alex
Alex,
McKechnie
yeah, McKechnie.
and Alex McKechnie and obviously Bobby Webster, Masai, and obviously I'm sure Kawhi has
Kawhi,
some
yeah.
say in it, right? And so that's kind of the decision going forward. It's kind of like a collective, and then they just tell Nurse, "Hey, yep, Kawhi's in tonight."
Yep.
And credit to Nick Nurse for being able to adjust night in, night out.
Yeah. And they're
He hasn't-
11-2 without him, right? Like
He hasn't even been able to make a rotation. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's been so many injuries. Even OG's been in and out of the lineup. Norm's
Fred,
finally
JB,
back, extended.
Kyle.
Fred seems like he'll be back for a couple games and he'll miss a game. Couple games and he'll miss a game. As you mentioned, Kyle was out for a long stretch. Credit to Nick Nurse for holding down the fort and being able to juggle all this. And
he's going to be in talks for Coach of the Year at the end of the year, regardless. I think
for
so.
sure.
I do.
There's a lot of other like good storylines, Sacramento being one of them,
Yep.
but also is it Kenny
Jaeger.
Atkins in Brooklyn? Is that the coach? Atkinson?
I know Jaeger's in Sacramento,
right? But like it's just a thing where there's a lot of good stories, and I feel like people they don't want to give Nurse as much credit as he probably deserves because they're saying, well, Casey was coach of the year last year, so your
Yeah.
team's good and you're
Back-to-back
supposed to be doing
Raptors.
this, right?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
But it's interesting though. Either way, I think it's a good look for the Raps in the sense that hey, most importantly, they don't need Kawhi Leonard
Yeah.
to be playing in the regular season.
Yep.
You can rest him and make sure that he's healthy for the playoffs because that's the most.
Yeah, it
important
shows how
thing.
deep they're 9 deep.
Yeah, right. As shown by this game, because this was a game where honestly, I know we say this a lot, but there's certain games I watch as a Raptor fan, and I'm thinking the Raptors of years past would lose these games.
You know what's crazy though is we haven't said that in a while. Remember the beginning of the year? Let's say the first 10 to 15 games.
Yeah.
Every podcast we would say, last year the Raptors would lose this game, or 2 years ago the Raptors of 2 years ago would lose a game. And it seems like we haven't. We kind of got over that. But
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, it is the weird.
I've said that a
games.
lot this
Like Utah, whenever they go to Utah or something, like they always lose those games.
But I feel
or-
like even just the look or the demeanor of the Raptors team is so different
Yeah,
in the
it
sense
is.
that it's almost like they know it's next
it was
man up.
one
They
player,
don't take nights
but
off.
it just changed the whole vibe in the locker room and the chemistry, and it just feels like a complete
it feels
new
different.
team.
I wonder too just what it's like the because we don't know because we're not in the locker
Yeah.
room. But when you talk about adding Greg Monroe, that's a vet.
I love that sign.
You're adding Danny Green, he's a vet. Kawhi is a vet, just a leader by
Kyle's a year
example.
older and-
Kyle's a year older, and we know he's playing with that chip on his shoulder because he takes it as an FU that they traded DeMar.
And Siakam's the young brother, and OG, and it's just
Norm and them are hungry. Like it's just such an interesting room that it is next man up, and being so deep, you have all these guys fighting for minutes. Because seriously, CJ Miles is finally playing well. But what happens on Friday when OG and Kawhi come back?
Yep. And Chris Boucher, the fan favorite of this podcast too,
right?
I think he has a 45-day contract. Masai's going to have to do something with them.
Interesting.
And that was another thing I wanted to ask too. What McCaw, because I don't know how that works, but is it going to be a decision between those two? Mm-hmm. Because if it is, I watched McCaw play on the last game. He got a little bit of a run against Memphis, and without the ball, he just looked lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know it's a new team and a new system, but I don't know. There's a reason.
It's interesting.
Cleveland cut him. You know what I mean? So
well,
I don't know why
the Cavs didn't even want him.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, what's the deal with this guy?
Yeah. So I mean, I hope that doesn't affect Boucher. I guess kind of getting cut or whatnot.
Yeah, McCaw, it'll take some time, right? Because as you said, right, the thing with McCaw is he hasn't even played this year.
Yeah,
right. So
that's what I said. Yeah, he hasn't played in almost a full year.
Yeah,
it feels
so
like,
it's gonna take a while.
It's gonna take a while. He just looks a little.
Some comments here from the Twitter chat. My guy LT says he likes the All-Star break theory.
Yeah.
Right. It makes sense.
I think. Yeah.
Right, because we know even though Kawhi it's not like he's going out to like All-Star parties and whatever that weekend.
No, but he's going to be big thing there.
You have to travel. He's going to be around. Yeah.
The injury, the Lumen free agency. You know what I mean?
There's like
certain
a lot of media sessions that players have to go to, which is a gong show and is like.
So this is his mental break.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I like that. More comments from Twitter. Kawhi has kept the team in the game when they can't score. He should be. In my opinion, I guess that means he's allowed to rest. I guess he's been working so hard. Not mad at that. Mm-hmm. Chris Boucher is emerging in front of your eyes.
He is. He
should get consistent minutes off the bench.
But then who you take minutes from?
Right, and that's a beautiful problem.
It's a good problem to have.
Right, that's a beautiful problem the Raptors have. Let's see. Someone else says on Twitter, they say, "I've been voting for Serge."
There you go.
Shouts to Serge, getting some right. Kawhi, another comment. Kawhi was limping around in that Washington game, so I think they're being cautious.
Could be.
That is true, right? That was a double overtime game, if we remember. Kawhi did leave the game, went to the back, and then came back in and still put in mega work.
Yeah.
But who knows? Being extra cautious, I'm not mad at that. Someone else agreeing and saying load management also means experience for your bench, right? Again, you're getting a chance to have, Fred work his way back in as he's in the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. And he's played really well in those games where he's filled in the starting lineup. And that's something that doesn't happen if Kawhi plays every game. Yeah. Does CJ shoot himself out of this shooting slump if Kawhi's playing? It's interesting, right? And we're getting to see just how valuable depth can be, the opportunity it can bring. There's just so much going on with the Raps. It's been pretty good.
Like a Philly, the 76ers, like they don't have this kind of depth, right? So, I mean, if you have an Embiid or a Simmons or a Butler out a load management on them, they're not as deep as the Raptors.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
for sure. Like someone says, I'm glad Leonard didn't play tonight. He better play against Indiana.
He's not.
You missed the update. Kawhi Leonard will not play against Indiana.
He will be Friday.
Yes, he will be back on Friday against Houston. Another question from Instagram. Any update on the Beal trade?
Perfect segue. Perfect segue.
So the Bradley Beal talks have been heating up. And for those that have missed the last podcast, there was an article written in the Bleacher Report by Ken Berger, who is a solid NBA writer, like a legit. Is
he like
NBA
a Shams
writer.
or a thing? No, but
it's kind of different. He's more of like he has sources and all that.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know when I first?
He's just respected by execs.
Yeah. Do you know when I first got put onto him? Actually, was during one of the lockouts. I think, because my job, I was just strictly covering the NBA that year for the Score at the time, and so any little update that was coming along about when the lockout might end, whatever kind of
He had insight.
he had insight on it, right? He was plugged in. He had a lot of good sources. So ever since then, he was like a permanent follow that I would read his articles and that has sources, has insight, right? So this Bradley, he writes in this Bleacher Report, this Bradley Beal story, basically that Bradley Beal is the blue chip prospect, let's say, that could change the entire deadline day because he's somewhat available.
Yeah.
We want Anthony Davis to be available, but that's not, we know it's only really the Lakers, maybe.
Lakers and Boston. It's a two-team race there.
Whereas Bradley Beal, he could change things in the East.
Which you had said on that podcast about the Beal trade is it does say that it's Toronto and Boston looking at packages, but when you made a good point, and I completely agree, is Boston might be just driving up the price.
Yeah.
I really don't think Boston's willing to give their assets for Beal when they probably want Davis.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely Boston wants in on
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis, but I'm trying to find the quote now just to bring it up for people that might have missed it. But again, the article is on the Bleacher Report, and it's called "The Bradley Beal Sweepstakes is on. Execs dish on deals for NBA's top trade chip." And he really does, as Mike just said, he really focuses in on the Celtics and the Raptors. And here's the excerpt that matters most to Raptors fans. Again, for those that missed it, he says, quote, "In the East, Toronto and Boston are among the most motivated teams to come calling for obvious but unique reasons. The Raptors have made it known in front office circles that they're interested in adding an elite shooting guard, rival execs say. A package including Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, and a first-round pick might be a sensible starting point to the discussion," one of the execs said. So we talked about this for a while, and then now when you hear that, how many elite shooting guards are there that are available? That's my first question, right?
Beal, you don't call Dennis Smith Jr.
No, right? Right? So it's interesting. It's like, so we know, okay, that to me kind of leans towards Bradley Beal for sure.
So I want to make a point to you, the listening audience, and I'm going to steal it from the host, Sheldon, telling me a little tidbit that I didn't know, that Bradley Beal is only 9 months the elder of Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
The guy that you don't want to give up.
Because he's so young.
He's so young
don't
and
know
good.
what he could turn into.
Listen, I love him too. I think he's great. I did not know that the age difference was that close. But guys, they're essentially the same age.
Yeah.
Okay? You still got Bradley Beal for 2 more seasons after this one, which you could build around him. The getting the Bradley Beal on the cheap and pulling the wool over the Wizards' eyes is done. But you can still get him for a price that's not a steep. I'm telling you, next season he's going to be a star. He's already developing into it in front of our own eyes. So the fact that at the beginning of the year, if I would have told you that we could have Kawhi Leonard and a Bradley Beal, like 2 superstars, you wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
So what I think is, just give me 1 minute here and I'll tell you.
No,
I think that
do your thing.
if the Raptors are real serious about this, they could give a package of JV because of contractual. He's going to match the salary, right? And they could either throw in one OG or Siakam, but I really do think they could probably give OG JV and the 2021 first round pick or Siakam too, and get the deal done.
I mean, it's super interesting, right? And again, that stat too about, I can't even call it a stat because it's really just it's just the age. But that was sent to me by our Sportsnet stats guy, who was like just a guru. But it was because we were arguing so much about, because I was getting mad because I'm like, everyone's talking about they don't want to give up Siakam. It's like, you don't even know what Siakam might be, and Bradley Beal is right now.
OG's 21, by the way, just to let you guys know. So he's 3 years younger than Siakam. So he still has time to.
But like, dude just sent me a text and he's just like, you do realize that
they're 9 months
months apart. And I was like, wait a second.
And then the thing too, guys, is you have him for another 2 seasons after this.
Yeah.
Which that is really big.
And that would lessen the blow if Kawhi Leonard leaves.
Yeah.
Right? For sure.
But I really do think, as I was saying to you earlier, I think that would definitely help Kawhi staying, knowing he has Beal here for another
For sure.
2 years.
Definitely. So another article here from Sportsnet's Michael Grange. Here's the title, and I want to get your thoughts on it. NBA trade deadline is Raptors' chance to boost all-in approach. Now, question, do you want the Raps to go all in? It sounds like you're on board with that. I'm definitely all in on that.
I'd tell you even what. Let me put my Stephen A. Smith on here. Because this brother, Bradley Beal is a real deal.
Yeah.
Kawhi's a real deal. You call me crazy. I would. They're asking for the 2 picks.
Mm-hmm.
I would give the 2 picks. Because you don't know what you're going to have in 2021, 2022, 23. The fact that you could have Kawhi and Beal, it's pretty much a ticket to the finals.
Yeah.
We haven't had this. This would be a franchise first. This would be a country's first. This is your best chance.
Yeah.
Yes, you do go all in. You could always, man, you never know. You could trade in the offseason, Kyle, for your another first round back in 2022. Like, yes, when you can get a chance to get someone like that, and you already have a superstar, top 5 player in Kawhi,
Yeah.
you do it.
I totally agree with you. And for me, you know what? It's like I was trying to wrap my head around it for real, just because I had to remind myself at one point I didn't believe the rumors that the Raptors were in on Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Right? So it took me a while to like get to that point to be like, wait a second. If we could get Kawhi Leonard, you give up whatever you have to get Kawhi Leonard. Cool.
And they got a
So
steal.
with this story of when Bradley Beal first popped up, I was like, is this real? Yeah. And then now as we're starting to see,
it's real.
Signs are kind of pointing, I'm thinking, wait a second here, okay? Let's take a step back and think about it. Think about it this way. We know Masai's in win now mode because he gave up DeMar DeRozan, the face of the franchise, the guy that wanted to stay. He gave him up for Kawhi Leonard and a 1-year shot. So we know Masai's in that mode already. At this point right now, there's no way that you're going to turn down adding another All-Star, adding Bradley Beal because of what
future
someone might be in 2 years.
3 years.
You don't even know what the rest of the team's going to be like.
You don't even know. You don't even know if you're going to be here, Bobby Webster and Masai.
True.
I mean, GMs. You got to understand.
True.
GMs do that.
Yeah.
Case in point, Alex Anthopoulos. Guys, you wouldn't take back that run in 2015,
No,
right?
not at all.
And you know what Anthopoulos said? He traded the farm for Price.
Yeah.
In Tulo.
Yeah.
But you know what? Those memories are instilled in our mind, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Masai can do here. We can have like an equivalent of the Blue Jays 2-year run with the Raptors.
And the reality is, to be serious, it's the best, 5-year run that the organization's had? And if his goal, as he said, he wants to win a championship, how many opportunities do you get to be in this position right now where you have arguably a top 3 player on your team with a supporting cast that is pretty damn good already?
And no LeBron in your conference.
Exactly.
Guys,
you have all these things lining up
this year
where you can take a chance to go for it all. I think you do it because,
so do I.
Again, who knows what happens in 3 years?
But the great thing is, you know what? I would probably do it even if Beal was a free agent next year.
I know
the fact that you get him for another 2 years and his bird rights, guys, you're gonna get that first round pick, even if you trade him in a year and a half back. You know what I mean? Like that's it's a perfect win-win
For sure. Here's an interesting part of this article, though. He says the rest of the NBA believes if any team should be in go for it mode, it's the Raptors, given they viewed as championship contenders with a runway that only extends as long as Leonard is on the roster. So short answer, yes, as one NBA executive's assessment of whether Toronto should be throwing caution to the wind. Another said, your window to win in pro sports doesn't open often, and it can shut very quickly. I wouldn't jump in and do something ridiculous, but yeah, I think they'd go for it. And Masai's
very aggressive.
Yeah, we saw that by trading DeMar. That wasn't like it couldn't have been easy.
It didn't go over well. Yeah.
As pathetic as the playoff exit was last year,
Yep.
it still couldn't have been easy for him to look at Dwayne Casey, who was probably going to win Coach of the Year, and be like, "All right, deuces," and get rid of and trade away DeMar DeRozan. Like that couldn't have been easy. So we know Masai's not scared, right? Nope. We know that. Nope. So this next 2 weeks until the trade deadline is going to be so much fun. But I want to get the Raptors fan base. Like, what do you guys think? Should they have an all-in mentality? Or is someone still untouchable for you guys? Let me know what you think.
I've been hearing a couple comments and seeing a couple comments that some people are saying, don't trade JV. They're like,
Right?
don't trade JV.
Oh man, it's so crazy. I'm scrolling through there's so many comments. I need to go back and read some of these load management
Yeah.
comments. But here's a great comment that says, "Imagine Nick Nurse with Kawhi and Beal on the roster.
Yeah.
Nurse has been very impressive with his ability to mix and match lineups. Totally agree." Another comment: "We got to remember the Wizards are currently 2 games out of a playoff spot. I repeat, 2 games.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to get them." This is true.
Yeah.
And the biggest factor that we were talking about off air during the game was, I still don't know if they're going to
Washington's
trade him.
willing
If they're
to.
willing to trade him. Because in their mind, I think their owner, Ted Leonsis, has already come out and said he is not supporting a tank. He wants them to make the playoffs still. Like, he'll never be on board with a tank, whatever. And the other messed up part is, Washington always plays better without John Wall,
No, I know.
right? So it's almost fooling them into
Who is out
thinking...
for the season, by
Yeah,
the way. Yeah.
it's fooling them into thinking that, like, hey, we can make the playoffs, and then lose in the first round to the Raptors,
Yeah.
right? Let's see, trading for Beal and giving up JV. Who's going to play the 5? Moose? Question mark. SI? Serge Ibaka? Question mark. How would that affect team chemistry?
Well, JV's been out for about 6 weeks now, and the Raptors look fine.
Yep.
Yes, Serge would play. Moose would get some minutes.
Yep.
And I believe that Masai would either get a veteran buyout that could plug those minutes, or you could trade DeLon, who was on the market, for a serviceable power forward / center. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be a plug and play.
I'm not...
You got to understand, guys, the bench shortens in the playoffs. So Serge is going to get 33 to 35 minutes, majority, most likely, if we were to trade
But
JV, right?
the bigger point to that is that your bench shortens, and so it becomes about who your best players are. And if Bradley Beal is on your team
With Kawhi.
there's going to be a lot of series where you have the 2 best players
Yeah.
in the series,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And if you somehow get Beal without giving up Siakam, they could go small, and Siakam could maybe play a small
here's
5.
the thing, though, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but if you add Bradley Beal
Yeah.
and you're the Toronto Raptors, you have 2 of the 3 best players in any series that you're going to play in the Eastern Conference, no? Like, would you have,
Milwaukee,
maybe
to be honest,
only,
and then Kyrie.
right? Like, maybe only Jimmy
Oladipo,
Butler,
but yeah.
like Jimmy Butler and Embiid, or one of them better than Bradley Beal? Jimmy Butler better than Bradley Beal?
No,
Embiid better than Bradley Beal?
don't know
Like,
about
that's close.
Embiid, yeah, different
That's
position,
close.
but yeah.
But I still think the Raptors team
Team
depth-wise
depth-wise,
smashes
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Right? But, yeah, they just added Corey Brewer off the scrap heap,
Yeah.
right? And he played legit minutes to guard
Yeah.
James Harden. So it's just interesting. Like, the increase in talent that you do by adding Bradley Beal is incredible. And again, I know that this might just be a pipe dream because who knows what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
exactly. Like you said, what the Wizards might be reluctant to give him up. But
But there's other names that
yeah, Harrison Barnes. who
relatively became available.
I like.
as
Who's that? I don't know.
Woj.
Oh,
As Woj
Woj
tweeted
knows.
today. Woj knows everything, right? He said today, quote, "For the first time, Memphis will begin listening to trade offers on franchise stars Marc Gasol and Mike Conley," league sources tell ESPN. Memphis has reached a crossroads and is preparing to weigh deals involving one or both of its cornerstone veterans. Story soon on ESPN. I mean, Marc Gasol, you would assume if you're making that deal, you're giving up JV. That would be my guess. Right? I would assume
the
that, right? You're giving up
contracts.
JV just
Yeah.
because it's another big guy that they might probably want, but you're giving up JV or Serge.
Yep.
But bottom line, Marc Gasol becomes your starting 5. And now you're into the same thing where you're talking about, yo, man, that's a legit starting 5.
Oh yeah.
Right? And
Guys,
so,
this isn't Paul Gasol. This is Mark
Powell.
Gasol.
Where's
Powell,
Powell?
yeah.
Powell's dusted, right? He doesn't even play
Paul
that
Powell,
much.
yeah.
He doesn't even play that much.
He's the younger brother, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I've always had a man crush on Marc Gasol. I've always thought, oh man, he would look good in a Raptors uniform. I mean,
All that
he's
is
a
if
little
healthy.
bit. He's been injury prone the last year, but I mean, he'd be a great guy to have heading into the playoffs.
I feel like guys get motivated when it's winning time,
Yes,
right? Like it's a lot easier. The
He'd
body
be
might feel
respected in the room.
a little bit better
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
when you wake up and your record is you're sitting atop the Eastern Conference as opposed to the bottom of the Western Conference. Those little aches and pains, you know what I mean? Might be a little easier for you to recover from. Either way, Raptor fans, let us know what you think in terms of, do you want to make these deals? Do you want the Raptors to go all in?
Trade deadline is February 7th,
yeah.
too, guys. So
More comments. I promise to read these comments because I appreciate you guys tuning in and letting us know what you think. So this person says, I'm down with Beal. In fact, he might even help Kawhi with re-signing with Toronto.
That's what I said.
True.
Good comment.
If Kawhi leaves, we still have Beal. Then we can go after KD.
Yeah. And listen, too, guys. If let's just say, say we get Beal and Kawhi decides to leave. Mark my words.
Okay.
He wants that extra year and $50 or $45 million because we own his bird rights. Kawhi.
Okay.
So if he says he wants to go to the Clippers, we're doing a sign and trade. And we're going to get a decent piece back. So now you have Beal, a decent piece back. I mean, Tobias Harris, maybe. I don't think they'd have to give up that much. But you'd get something,
Who knows?
right?
Who knows? Yeah. You
So,
never know.
I mean, it's just like when you add that, like, it's just you kind of got all your chips in, but you know you could get something back, right? It's like it's smart trades is what it breaks down to.
Someone says, listen, that DeRozan stank is still in the locker room. We need another player with a Mamba mentality. Beal is that type of player.
Yes, definitely.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Someone says, we can't trade Siakam. He means too much to the team defensively. The way that we play with switching and big guarding guards, no one else on our team can do that.
Chris Boucher, I'm not saying he's Siakam, but
OG can do that all right.
Chris Boucher looks, I mean, he's only getting
don't
10
get me
minutes,
wrong,
but
Siakam
I'm not saying
is
he's
good.
Siakam. Yeah.
Siakam is good.
It could be a system too, guys. Yeah, we have nothing but love for Siakam.
Yeah.
But, I mean, give Chris Boucher another year, and, I mean, who knows?
This guy says, we don't want Gasol. I'd rather JV. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Another comment says JV greater than Gasol. Why give up
Gasol
a young JV for an aging, injury-prone Gasol? I'm not going to rip Gasol that much, and JV's hurt right now. So it's kind of tough to, rip Gasol for being injury-prone when JV's literally hurt right now. That's, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But, again, like I'm super excited for what's to come.
We've got
in the
2
next couple
solid
weeks.
weeks of, trade talk.
And you know what? I'm excited to watch. Like, I know this won't happen, but how cool would it be if Kawhi was the one that stopped James Harden's streak of scoring 30 points?
Well, he could be.
Right? That would be incredible.
With that claw.
That would be so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, Raptors win. I know we barely even talked about the game, but really it was an easy win against the Sacramento Kings. No Kawhi Leonard, but it was great to see the Raptors team get out and get buckets. You saw 6 Raptors in double figures. CJ Miles, Kyle Lowry shooting the rock nicely. Freddie doing a great job.
Great game.
Great game from Freddie in the starting lineup.
We haven't done this in a while, but now that we talked about it, who was your MVP of the game?
Do you know what? I'm going to give it to Kyle. And the reason I'm giving it to Kyle is because it was the best game that he's had since he's
Golden State game, probably.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I mean, 6 of 15 isn't great. It's not,
No,
it's not great. But the 19 points, 9 assists, his assist numbers have constantly been there.
Yep.
And that's the real key to the team. We know that we might not get the scoring from Kyle Lowry, which is why I'm all for making these trades, by the way, because the main reason I'm for making the trade is you need someone else that's going to be able to get you 25 to 30 on any given night.
And make Kyle more comfortable being a distributor. Yeah.
But also, just like we thought that could have been Kyle, but we're seeing that it's not. It's not, right? And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah.
Same with Siakam, same with Ibaka. They're good scorers, but you're gonna need someone else that could get you 30 on any not even consistently, but just on any given night.
When you need it.
Goes off, hey, there's 30 points, right? So super interesting times in Raptorland. Good to see Kyle Lowry.
I'm gonna give it to Fred.
Yeah.
Kind of the counterpart. Just because he like I said,
Also
he's
at
playing
19
better
points.
and better, and he didn't shy away from being aggressive, even with Kyle in the lineup.
Yeah.
Right? And it's good to see. I'm believing more and more. I know he was the bench mob and everything, but I'm really believing that if ever Kyle really went down for significant time. Because let's face it, what we're really worried about is Kyle in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But to know that you got Fred, who can put up games like this,
It's massive. It's massive.
you breathe a sigh of relief, right?
Definitely. Someone in the chat says Kawhi's Uncle Dennis is a real puppet master here. I want to address this because I don't buy it, and the reason I don't buy it is because we don't know anything about Uncle Dennis. We haven't seen him or heard anything about
Let
him.
Mona
since
talk
Toronto.
to Uncle Dennis, okay?
But-
she'll make him a fan.
But my
of
point is,
Toronto.
my point is,
true.
we only know about Uncle Dennis because the Spurs were salty about Kawhi, right? Like, there's no reason why we should know Uncle Dennis. We only know who this is because the Spurs have leaked out that story last year to paint Kawhi in a bad light, right? Which, and trust me, I understand why the Spurs would be mad and upset. But I'm saying from a Toronto standpoint, we have no reason to be throwing shade at Uncle Dennis or throwing shade at Kawhi for, like, the guy plays, and when he plays, he gets busy, right? Like, he is putting in work. And the part we missed too is he's averaging a career high in like points and rebounds this year. Like, he's having his best season of the year.
Any better.
Oh, it's amazing. But sorry if I didn't get to all the comments either on Instagram or on Twitter, but greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I don't say this as hyperbole. I really mean it. Really do appreciate the comments. And I enjoy seeing like some of the familiar names that I'm continuing to see night in, night out. Appreciate you guys joining into the podcast and, asking questions. And because I really do want to get the pulse of what the fans are saying, right? Like, do we want to go all in and make a trade? Is this the year? I think it is.
The fans are the most invested in this team since... Man, I can remember. It's a fun year. And
as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, it's just going to pick up even more, right?
Yeah.
Just going to gain more and more steam as the Raptors, like, hopefully they get to first place, throughout the whole season, and they can hold that into the playoffs and have home court advantage the whole way through. And you know what? If they make that big trade...
I can't wait for that. We got to go first game, man, with Beal playing. Oh,
the fact that people kind of rip, and I remember this when we first brought, I don't even know how many podcasts ago it was. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
I remember reading one of the comments and someone was like, "Why are you guys so?" And it was like, first off, this is exactly where we would talk about
the year
trades.
to do it,
right?
And you have a GM who's super aggressive.
Yes. And then now you have like legitimate writers who are paid to have sources within other front offices saying the Raptors have made it known in front office circles they're interested in adding an elite shooting guard. Yes. That's something we're going to talk about a lot. Yeah. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the ride with us because we greatly appreciate it, and continue to hit us up, whether it's on, I'm on Twitter at Shell Alexander, on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. Mr. Bellamo.
Mike Bello, BELLO_6. Hit me up, and on the YouTube comments too. Love reading that stuff.
Yeah, it's really, really great.
Some funny ones too.
Yeah, man, I enjoy it, and I'm laughing, and it's really a good time for sure. And really want to shout you guys out. Shout out to the SoundCloud people. SoundCloud people holding it down. And SoundCloud's cool because I get to see like the cities where people are listening from.
Yeah.
And it's always like super interesting because like something catches me off guard, right? Like I was seeing a couple weeks ago.
It's like Antarctica or something.
We had people from like Kingston, Jamaica tuning in. And I was just like, okay, cool. And then you see like, oh, we got a crew in Mississauga that are listening, right?
Brampton mans too.
Gonna make me start laughing and coughing again.
Ever been with a Brampton man?
Who are those dudes they showed during the game? They're like, they Instagram dudes or YouTube dudes, but now they got a deal with Much Music.
Oh,
they got like a show on.
Are they the twins?
Yes.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. I don't know their names, but yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry. So looking at the cities, we've got Toronto, Scarborough, Vancouver. Shout out to the people on the West Coast.
Yep.
I see Edmonton on this list.
Yeah.
Shout out to the people. Someone messaged me actually the last time I shouted out cities, and they were like, what about Quebec? Quebec. Shout outs out too. I'm like, hey, appreciate all the love because we the North is real.
It is.
It's a thing. So again, shout out to people listening live. Shout out to the podcast people. Shout out to the YouTube peeps. Appreciate you all. My name is Sheldon Alexander, and I really did used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show. As always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time. Well, I guess that's tomorrow, actually. I just forgot about that. See ya.
Peace.
On blast.